Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into this week's episode of the Ringing the Bell podcast. This week, we're bringing you a special guest in Belles Volleyball senior, Karli Fegan. How are you, Karli?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, Karli, you guys had an excellent season this past year. You guys started off the season 12-0.
Yeah.
What was just the season like for you guys as a team? Going back to the MIAA tournament, what was the season like for you guys in general?
Yeah. So overall, we were just really proud of ourselves because we've had the most wins since in over 10 years, I think, with 16 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just really proud of ourselves. But once we got to the tournament, since we got that far, we really just wanted to win extra bad. We wanted it, but that game with Trine, we came out really wanting to win, and that was a really tough loss. But at the end, nobody was too down because we made it so far.
Yeah. So as we just had 12 wins to open the season, and then you guys ended with the most wins. I think you guys tied program wins under Denise.
Right.
What was it like as this was the best season you guys have had since you've been a part of the program? Just what was different this year than what you've experienced in the past with how the team was and then just the momentum that came with that?
Honestly, I feel like most of it was team chemistry. Before, we've always been close as a team, but we were really close friends this year, and we put in an effort to really come into practice every day and work for each other. And we all decided we would have talks in our locker rooms about how much we really wanted to win together as a team.
And so you have a bit of a different story than the other seniors from this year. You didn't start off playing volleyball at St. Mary's. You came in your sophomore year, started playing. What made you want to start playing for St. Mary's?
So I came into college not wanting to have a super big commitment. I played a ton of sports my whole life, but my main sport was actually softball my whole life, and if I was going to play a college sport, it would have been softball, so that's why I shocked myself even. But there was club volleyball here, and so I'm like, oh, what if I just see if I can play club? And then once I started getting back into it, I realized so much I missed having a competitive sport, and they didn't play enough for my liking. I wanted to play more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was curious about if I can if I can see what my full potential was going to be. So I knew some girls that were on the St. Mary's team, and over the summer I reached out to the coach, and yeah, I never looked back. And when she responded, she said, yeah, come out in the fall for preseason sophomore year. So I just showed up, and I was like, oh, this is perfect for me. This is what I want.
And what was the transition like? Obviously going from just a normal college student your freshman year, obviously get involved with the club, but then having to make the transition into being a full-time student athlete your sophomore year. What was that sort of transition like for time management and scheduling and everything like that?
Yeah, it definitely took me by surprise how much more of a commitment it was than just having regular school. But I honestly realized that I started to do better in school because it made me more deliberate with my time and how hard I was studying, and having to fit in practice. I had to set aside time for school, and I just feel being busier has always helped me. It was difficult sometimes when we be on a bus and I had have a test the next day. We didn't get back till 2 in the morning one time, I think. So times like that were really hard, but it definitely makes you grow up a little bit, and it I don't know.
So with going through your major, obviously for everybody, as you kind of get deeper into college, your classes get harder as the years go on. What was it like having to fit that in with, obviously you mentioned having to you're studying, you're doing homework on the bus, and going into a test the next morning. What was it kind of like transitioning from, it's very different, kind of similar in high school where very packed schedule, to going into college doing that, and then how you've been able to do that over the next 3 years after that?
Yeah. So I feel in high school, I'm a better student now than I used to be in high school, just because having a sport especially makes you think about what you want, because you don't have all the time in the world to take all these classes and still be thinking about what you want to do with your life. So I'm a communications major. I picked that, and I just started being more deliberate with my kind of outlook on school.
And what was it about communications that made you decide to start studying communications?
That's a good question. I don't really, I don't know.
Was it kind of more of like the wanting to work in marketing? Obviously, it's not marketing, but like wanting to kind of work more with like communicating with people, wanting to promote, market, everything like that, socials, anything
Yeah,
like.
I feel like once I started to understand the major more and like, oh, I could be good at this, it started to give me more of like a purpose in school. So I'm like working for something. And yeah, I'm interested in doing like sales, marketing,
Yeah.
advertising. And so once I started to figure that out, it made me like get excited about it and want to do it.
And so, as with graduation coming up in a couple of months, I know it's very difficult here at times, but what is next for you after graduation?
I've been slowly starting to apply to jobs, but planning on working in Chicago or around my suburb. I'm from Orland Park, so I'm gonna move back home for probably a couple months until I find something, and I plan on commuting.
Do you have any like specific not departments, but like fields that you want to look towards? A lot of student athletes, especially, they think about working in sports. Is there anything like specific you want to look towards?
I would really love to be able to travel for work somehow. Right now I'm finding jobs in like event coordinating and planning, hospitality, and I've also always had on the back burner being a fashion designer. So that's my minor actually, but if I can work in like marketing for like a clothing brand company, I think that would be really cool.
Awesome. Well, Karli, as we wrap up the question portion of our weekly episode, thank you so much for joining us this week. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go do our Belles Weekly Recap, then we're going to come back and we're going to do our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Welcome into your Belles Weekly Recap. Starting things off, Belles basketball split their final two games of the season, beating Kalamazoo at home on Wednesday, 65-60, before falling at Olivet in the season finale, 68-63. Annie Restovich led the team against the Hornets with 17 points, while Kate Restovich and Hannah Outlaw added 13 and 11. Kate Restovich led the team against the Comets with 17 points of her own, while Hannah Outlaw added 14. Belle Stunt hit the road for the first time this season on Saturday at Purdue Northwest, falling to the Pride 24-6. Belle's tennis earned a pair of strong 6-1 wins this past Saturday over Carthage and IU Kokomo. Anna Gardner led the team going 4-0 on the weekend, while Lainey Brandt went 3-0. Belles lacrosse opened up their season with back-to-back wins, 13-9 at Aquinas on Saturday and 8-5 against Illinois Tech on Tuesday. Alyssa Grant led the Belles against the Saints with 8 goals in her return to the field, while Lana Skibbins added 2 goals and 2 assists, and Catherine Kalinowski tallied 3 assists. Rachel Speckard led the team against the Scarlet Hawks, tallying 3 goals and 3 assists. Belles tennis hits the road this weekend as they head east on Friday to take on both Worcester and 18th-ranked Case Western Reserve. The Belles then return home on Sunday to host Oberlin and St. Francis. Belles lacrosse will take a week-long break before they head back to the Chicagoland area next Tuesday to take on North Central. And Belle softball will kick off their season this weekend at the Earlham Invite as they take on 4 games in 2 days, playing both Earlham and Elmhurst. And that was your Belles Weekly Recap. Karli, we're going to go ahead and get started. Rapid fire questions. Don't think too hard about it. Nice and simple answers. So our first one is, what's your favorite restaurant in town?
Lauber.
Very popular choice among student athletes.
Yeah. Sorry. Also, Tippecanoe, but it just closed down. It was in that giant mansion. That was a cool place.
Yeah. What's your favorite spot on campus?
Like to study or just
study, just hang out in general.
I like to study in Rainbow, which is the first floor at Lamont, but my favorite place is probably on one of those benches around the pond, especially when it's sunny.
Yeah. For your position as a libero, do you prefer a big dig that keeps a point alive, or do you like starting off with a service ace?
Preferably both, but probably a big dig just because it gets everybody rowdy.
What is your spirit animal, or if you were an animal, what would you be?
Maybe a lion. I've been told that before, but I could also say a cat because I love cat, or a house cat, one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a game day tradition or any sort of superstitions that you had to follow?
On the bus rides, if we had an away game, I had to put in, like I had a hype playlist in my headphones, so I did that every bus ride
Yeah.
before a game, but no, nothing else really.
You guys got a new jersey this year, the sleeveless ones. What was your favorite uniform to wear?
I liked the navy blue long sleeve. I wore that
Okay.
probably most of the time, especially
Yeah.
when everyone else wore white. I just
Mhm.
feel like it looked the best.
It really stood out a good bit too.
Mhm.
Who is your favorite artist at the moment?
At the moment, I've been listening to a lot of Taylor Swift lately. So.
Is she also an all-time?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she's one of my favorites.
What is your coffee or Starbucks order?
I get the brown sugar shaken espresso, half sweet. Yeah.
Seems like that's starting to become a more popular option recently.
Yeah.
I feel like we get a lot of refreshers from student
I
athletes,
don't really do
but
that too much.
the shaken espresso has become a more popular option recently as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's my go-to for the past like 5 years probably.
What is, outside of St. Mary's, what is your favorite place that you guys have been able to play at throughout your time?
I would say at wait, what was that school called in Memphis?
Rhodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would say Rhodes College in Memphis. That was just a fun trip overall, but that school was really pretty, and it reminded me of Notre Dame a little bit, but like shrunken down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Tennessee. It's always going to be beautiful down there.
Yeah.
And our last one is, what is your dream vacation spot?
Thailand.
Thailand. Why is that?
I've just never been to Asia, and it looks really pretty. You have the city, and then you have the beaches. It's just everything.
Perfect. Karli, as we start to wrap up this week's episode, thank you so much again for joining us. We look forward, hopefully we're able to see you come back around for some games. Obviously, if you're going back to Chicago, hopefully you'll be able to come back over next fall as well. But as we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Ringing the Bell podcast. Make sure you follow St. Mary's Athletics on all social media platforms to stay up to date with your Bells. Have a great day, everyone.